listening to the Around the Lens podcast, the home of high-quality, roundtable, visual journalism discussion about the news, topics, and gear related to our career field. Now, here's the host of our show, David J. Murphy.
Hello and welcome to Around the Lens, episode 193. I am your host, David J. Murphy. Joining me as always is my co-host, Ron Hamilton. Hello, Ron.
Hey, David. It's another beautiful day here in Hawaii.
It is?
Bet.
Is it a beautiful day out there? What's it like? What's the weather like outside?
Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's dark outside. I don't know.
Oh, when does the sunrise
I
come?
imagine it's beautiful.
When does the sunrise?
I don't know. Let's see if we can, you know what, let's do an extended show, and let's see if we can do a sunrise episode today, Dave.
I like that. You can just be outside and be in darkness, and as the sun rises, you'll slowly become more into light. I like that. We'll have to do that one day. Not today, but one of these days.
Oh, next time. All right. No problem.
All right, great. Anything new in your world before we introduce our guest?
My daughter's on her way to see you, Dave.
That's right. She's in Korea.
I took her to the airport yesterday. That's right. Well, I don't know how long it takes, but I took her to the airport yesterday.
Well,
so
she should.
You call me when she gets there.
Okay. She should. If depending on when you dropped her off, she'll be here tomorrow, your time. So, I think. I don't know. Well, coming from Hawaii, it's different, I think. I don't know. But I'll make sure to say hi to her if I see her in person.
There you go.
We'll have her on the show.
There you go.
Talk to her all about visual journalism. Sure, she'll love to talk about that.
Oh, she loved talk about it with you there.
Yeah, I can't wait to get that arsenal.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about later.
Indeed. Anyways, we have an awesome guest on the show tonight. I'm proud to introduce Larry Simmons. Larry, tell the audience a little about yourself.
Let's see, I spent 20 years in the military. I was a photojournalist, did public affairs. I worked with David here, went to school with him at Syracuse, and now I'm at the Department of Transportation. Go Orange. I'm the photographer for the Secretary of Transportation. Her name is Elaine Chow. She's also married to Mitch McConnell. And we stay quite busy here doing grip and grins, which is always all of our favorite photos, and photo lines, which we all love. And that's most of my job actually right now. So yeah, but it does keep you pretty busy, and get out and get to see people throughout DC, get to see some of the inner workings of what's going on. So it does have its moments.
Well, I'm glad that your 20 years of photojournalism experience and your work at Syracuse has paid off and is being utilized on a daily basis in such a demanding and engaging job.
All those great photojournalism classes we took have really helped out here.
And your writing classes, of course. I mean, writing and photojournalism, both skills that I'm sure haven't atrophied over the years.
Well, what's interesting, I was hanging out with some of my friends who have all retired and gone on to do some jobs here in DC, and we talked about it. And one of the things you realize is that when you retire and they offer you these great jobs, it's hard to say no.
Right.
It's really hard to say no. But I look at some of the photojournalists out there that are still doing it, and I miss that. But then I also like having a steady paycheck. So it's kind of like a catch, kind of hard to decide which one to do.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're completely right. It's a very difficult career field to make a living in, photojournalism, as has been evidenced by, of course, our own Zach Roberts, who's had, his own fair share of ups and downs within the career field. And a lot of the people we've brought on, who see their, job opportunities dwindling by the day when it talks about, we talk about different opportunities, which are few and far between. So, I think just the fact that you have a job that includes photography is probably you're far and ahead amongst most people. I mean, better doing that than something that has nothing to do with photography, right? So, do you do any any photojournalism or more creative work on the side, or do you just kind of?
I stopped doing that. I do some here at work. I do get to be involved with some photojournalism, but not a whole lot.
Right.
But I've noticed that the 1060 series, which is the photography series in the government service, is dwindling, and now we're doing a lot more video, a lot more editing, a lot more multimedia stuff built in. So that is kind of nice for me to learn through that, and learning After Effects and DaVinci Resolve and some of these new programs that are coming out. They have robust systems that I'm kind of muddling through them, but I'm learning, and so it's keeping it fresh, I guess.
Oh, that's great. So you've been moving towards video editing.
I have been. I'm not very good at it yet, but I'm learning. It's very interesting. It's a little frustrating at times.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a lot of fun, and I'm learning it on the job, which is kind of exciting at times, and sometimes a little nerve wracking. But like I said, it does keep the job a little bit fresher. So it's not only award ceremonies and grip and grins.
Right. Well, it sounds to me like you're getting paid to learn. So
what's that? Sir?
What'd you say, Ron?
He can edit our show for us.
Right.
There's not a lot of editing that needs to go into it, so I don't think it'd be very challenging for him. But no, it sounds pretty awesome. I mean, you're getting to learn these skills on the job, which I think is awesome. That's how I learned video. I came into the Air National Guard not knowing a lick about, well, I had done some video editing before that, but in terms of really understand, I'd never used Premiere before I got into the Guard, the Air National Guard, and I learned how to use it because the job basically necessitated it, and I was one deep and had to do something. And so I knew the photography stuff, but like the back of my hand, and the video was just a whole new challenge. So I'm sure that's the same way for you. I mean, you probably discover something new every day you can do with like the video kind of editing, right?
I did, and I just 2 weeks ago I found out about trying to do a little rotoscoping,
right?
Which was really interesting and a lot of fun, and also can quickly turn into a poor design. But it's been a lot of fun trying to go through it. I went to a class, I think it was about a month ago, on After Effects, and we talked about DaVinci Resolve and some of the different programs that are out there. And it just is an exciting time because people are doing so much more on the go and with their cell phones now. I mean, you saw people can do so much with this Adobe Spark. You can do things right on the fly and just do amazing quality products with without a big lift at times, actually. So it's pretty impressive.
No, I've been toying around with the video editing on my phone. I've got this program called Power Director on my Android phone, and I can, create, edit, and export 4K video files using that. I've not messed around with Spark or any of those programs too much, but I know that they are really great at just putting together some quick motion video graphics and stuff. And stuff that would have taken probably, a week to do by hand on something like After Effects, you can knock out in, 15 seconds probably, for being generous. So, that's great. I've toyed around with After Effects. With DaVinci, though, I'm trying to learn how to use Fusion. I don't know if you've messed around with that at all, but that's kind of like their After Effects in DaVinci Resolve, and that thing's a beast.
Yeah, I started using, Cinema 4K Lite. I've used that in After Effects yet.
Cinema 4K?
Yeah, I think it's Lite that's in After Effects. It's pretty impressive. I'm not any good at it whatsoever, but I'm trying to learn. And having a nice robust system that can handle all of that and still work on even in Photoshop while you're doing something else has been pretty great here for at work, because that way I can do my job and then in the background, have something rendering. It's pretty nice.
What you said you're creating like these After Effects and these video products. What are they being used for? Are they being like for products on the DTS website or something, or where are they going?
Well, here's the funny thing. Right now, nothing. I'm actually just trying to learn it because I'm trying to show what we can do. Okay. And I'm hoping that maybe in 6 months from now, we're producing these products here at work.
Right.
And so right now, there's no, they don't think they really know our capabilities. So I'm trying to learn it so I can become pretty good at it. And then that way we can send it out, show them what we can do. Right now, they're just happy with lower thirds, which is, oh, you can do lower thirds. Yeah, that's pretty simple. I could actually do all these other things too. So trying to teach them as we go along, but not teach them and get ahead of myself to where they ask for something I can't do. Right. Because that would be something I would always have done in my past.
And are you using any like particular learning programs, like for instance, Lynda or Skillshare or any of these other programs?
Yeah, I got a lynda.com account here at work, and I'm going through that. And then I bought that classroom and a book for After Effects just to have something in the hand, like when I'm on the train or doing something else, because it takes me about an hour and a half to get to work each day, so I have some time to kill. Okay. And it's crazy. So picking that up as we go along and picking up new things and sharing. I have a buddy of mine that works at another here in DC, and he's real good at it. So I bounce stuff off of him, and he'll tell me where I'm going wrong or what I can do to make it better. And also he's got a good graphical eye to help me with some ideas. So between all of that, I'm starting to pick it up and starting to really enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's just so many different things you can do with motion media and video, and I'm learning something new every time. I actually just resurrected this old thing I used to do called The Dave Murphy Show, which is how I initially learned how to do video editing on Premiere, because I needed something like some sort of excuse to edit video. So I took my little point and shoot camera and I just recorded video files and I put them into the video editor and I created a piece of content that I could upload, and it just forced me to learn timelines and editing and all that fun stuff that comes with Premiere. And I hadn't touched it for about a good 10 years or so, maybe 9 years, because I just got caught up with life and everything else going on. So it kind of went on a hiatus for about 9 years. And I just recently decided to resurrect it here in Korea, just because we're doing something like every weekend. We're going out. Like last weekend, we went to the Osan Air Base Air Show. I threw up a video on that, put on my personal YouTube channel. And it's just, we're always doing these different adventures. So just, might as well resurrect the series. So I'm learning all kinds of new video editing techniques. And like I said, the one thing I'm trying to learn right now is motion graphics with Fusion. I'm planning actually to redo our own shows like intro and outro videos and stuff like that. I've got new intro audio, and I'm going to try and match that up with some neat visual effects and whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. I spent like 2 hours and I made like little lines pop, like little pop effects. That was 2 hours of my life following somebody else.
But there's
on
great
YouTube.
Satisfaction when you get it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's pretty neat. And, again, I'm understanding. It's really all about understanding how the system works. So when you do have an idea you want to execute, you know how to do it. As opposed to because it's trying to speak another language to get it to do what you want. But once you understand that language, you can actually make things happen. So, anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about the news of this week. You mentioned, Larry, about phones and how they're becoming extremely capable. And I agree. I'd say right now, if you need a easy, quick, cheap, camera or video camera, you can't go wrong with modern, I would say, flagship cell phones, or at least cell phones in probably the $500 and up range. You can get cell phones for as cheap as like $40, $50, but in terms of ones that you want to actually produce content that people might want to see, you're going to need something more closer to a flagship. So companies have seen this, and one company that makes very high-end flashes has come out with the ProPhoto C1. This is a portable flash that is actually synced to your cell phone. So if you want to capture and put nice kind of lighting, flash-based lighting on your subject with your cell phone, instead of just using the direct on-camera flash, you can now use this off-shoe camera flash. So you can get all kinds of nice creative lighting effects. This is something we've talked about before. We talked about ProPhoto lights. Travis talked about his use of the more expensive studio-style ProPhoto lights, but still, they can be taken anywhere, and they give you a lot of great flexibility. So this is more something for like the beginner level. Now, I was looking this thing up online, and apparently I think it goes for like $300, $400, $500. So it's kind of expensive, but what do you guys think of this? Is this something you might consider adding to your own, your camera bag, so to speak, or your cell phone bag? We'll go with you, Larry. What do you think? Is this something that you would kind of use or add to your kind of collection?
So I think if we talked about this maybe 3 weeks ago, I would have said, no, there's no reason for it. But recently I was out with some friends, and I was taking some photos with my iPhone 10X, which is a good camera, well done. And my friend took his cell phone camera and used the light on the pictures, and they made him look outstanding. Now, Of course, he knows how to direct light, which makes a big difference, right? Because with any camera, no matter how good the quality is, if you have good light, it's going to make a great image. But I can definitely see how this could be very valuable in the field if maybe you're going on the job and you just have your cell phone with you and you want to take a good image that can be used across the internet. I can definitely see the value in it.
I think it's a neat product, but again, at the price point, I was looking at what are the alternatives, and in honesty, you can probably get a nice, cheap, like for about $100 or so, one of these like LED boxes that have just a ton of LEDs and pump out a lot of light, and get probably a very similar quality with continuous light versus flashlight. And I think this thing the one from ProPhoto uses LEDs for its flash setup. I don't think it's like a traditional flash. So I think you're getting probably about the similar quality. I'd have to test them side by side to be for sure, but I mean, using a continuous light source, probably get you pretty close. Maybe throw a diffuser on there or something to kind of get some more softer light. But I think you can get away with kind of a similar product. in terms of finished product. What do you think, Ron? Any thoughts on you from this invention? Are you going to pre-order it? Are you ordering it right now?
Yeah, you know me.
Or are you getting the
talk
Chinese?
Me into it, aren't you?
That's right.
You'll talk me into it. I'll try it. I'll promise to mail it to you, and then you'll never see it. I think that's the way it's going to go.
I think what you're going to do is you're going to order the Chinese rip-off Godox version.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Godox. I was looking at it earlier, and the Godox version is like $100 or something. So why not get that if it's almost as good? And the other thing is I see about it is I don't see where you can gel it or whatever.
So it's actually they have different gel inserts that you kind of screw onto it.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
So
it's
they actually
just a white one, but a red or whatever the heck.
Right.
But I did see that Godox one for the price point. It seemed like it might be just as good of a deal or a better deal.
Yeah. I've got what Dave says, the light panels, the LED panels. I've got like that you can hang up for like video or whatever. In fact, because I do a lot of smartphone stuff, I've got a rig that you can mount your phone in like this, and then on top it has two shoes for a flash. You put your constant light source, and then you can put your shotgun mic, so you can do video, and you do like that, and you got your little camera rig. I've got a they call it Beast Grip is the big one, and then I've got a Chinese knockoff that I paid about, I don't know, a couple dollars for. Works just as good.
You know, what's funny is I was thinking about this. I did a photo shoot probably about a year ago, and I know I brought my external flash, but I think I was having issues with it. But I also had an external LED light box like you use for video, and I used that for the photo shoot, and it got decent quality imagery. You know, I mean, I had to raise the ISO a little bit and lower the shutter speed a little bit to kind of compensate for the lower amount of light, but yeah, it got the job done. You know, I got some nice shadows on the carrot on the subject and some well exposed backdrops. So, you know, again, it's. I think this is fine if you have extra money lying around and you want it in your work, but I don't know, for the price there's cheaper alternatives. I wouldn't get this myself, but I like the idea of adding light and other elements to make your photography, so to speak, more professional.
No, anytime you can go off axis with your flash, you're gonna get increased quite increased quality. Is there a way to mount this on a tripod or something, or a light stand or something?
Yeah, they advertise that in the video.
Handheld. Oh, okay. Oh, and the video.
The video attached to the story I sent you.
Hey, I read the story, man. All right, so you can mount it somehow.
Yeah, they have little screws at the bottom, I believe.
No, I'll get the Chinese one. I'll get the Godox.
There you go. That's the way to go.
All right, that's another around the lens promise. I'll get the Godox version. We'll talk about that when I get it.
Oh, and then you should write a review and do a video review, and we can publish it on our Patreon, and people can get to access that a week ahead of time. Which, by the way, thanks for reminding me, Ron. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/aroundthelens. You can donate to us, throw us some money, and we can truly appreciate it. If you want to get a copy of a great book by Timothy Floyd, it's on there. It's a $30 Patreon subscriber gift. So just go ahead and throw some money on Patreon. I'll make sure to send that out to you. So there you go. Thanks for plugging. Thanks for that.
You too can join the hordes.
That's right.
Join the hordes of subscribers that we have.
Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. In a couple more years, we'll be able to buy coffee. So, I mean,
Not Starbucks, though.
No, not Starbucks. 7-Eleven.
Get carried away.
7-Eleven coffee from the spigot.
There you go.
Anyways, speaking of iPhones, Larry, how are you managing with that old, outdated piece of garbage iPhone now that the iPhone 11 is out?
I mean, it's just going to be trash, right? They're going to have it to where the 10 won't work soon, right? Is that how they do it? Right. They make it so there's a lot of problems.
Within weeks. Within weeks.
Yeah, within weeks, yeah. I mean, I love the 10. Of course, I haven't used Android yet, so maybe I would love that. I don't want to knock any Android
phones. Come on over to the Note. Yeah, or get the Galaxy Fold. Get the Galaxy Fold. That's out now.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's in Korea. I should get it.
It's a little too crazy. You tried it?
No. I should go to a store. All I want to do is try it. I don't want to own it. I just want to try it. Once I get my hands on it and fold it a couple times and touch the screen a little bit, I'll be happy. That's all I need. I don't need to spend $10,000 or $2,000. Hope phones are never $10,000. That'd be crazy.
Isn't the new iPhone? It's coming. Isn't it like $1,600 for the Pro version or something crazy like that? Or isn't it up there pretty high?
I think the base model Pro is $1,100. I think, and then the top of the line Pro is like probably $1,600 or $1,700. Yeah,
it's crazy.
They
get you on this subscription because you only pay a little bit per month, and you don't think about that you're spending over $1,000 for a phone. And, it's all built into the price. Okay.
Well, I paid about $1,000 for my Note 9, which is a great phone. I just got a 512 gigabyte micro SD card for it, so I'm now rocking a terabyte of space in my phone. It's kind of crazy to think about that. I can shoot with this thing for probably until I get a new phone and probably not fill it up. But then again, I shoot a lot of videos, so that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to try and use this as a video editor, because I had all the space and capacity to edit video on it. So I'm like, why not? Let me give it a shot.
Nice.
I've actually been investing. I invested quite a bit into external microphones for the phone, so I could use it for actual like products and stuff like that. If you've heard of the Rode Wireless Go, it's a great little portable lav mic system. You can plug it into your phone, and actually, like, if you want to do interviews or do stuff like out and about, it's kind of gives you it's better than using crappy wind blown garbage audio from your phone. So it's a little bit more high quality, like you have an actual lav on. So
does that go straight into the jack, or do you have to put an adapter for that one?
Well, if your phone has a jack, it goes straight into the jack.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of phones don't have that anymore. Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the reasons I'm hesitant to upgrade from the Note 9 right now, because it's like they eliminated the jack on the Note 10 Plus for no reason other than to sell you more of their Bluetooth headsets. So it's like, now I'm going to have to do the dongle thing, which is so stupid. But
that's why I bought the Pixel 3a XL instead of the Pixel 3 XL, because the 3 XL does not have a jack, but the 3a XL does have a jack, even though it's a plastic phone instead of a metal phone.
Yeah. I don't know. Phones are getting so advanced nowadays. You don't need something that's $1,000 or $2,000 in the case of the Galaxy Fold. I'm intrigued by folding technology, though. If they come out with a folding phone that's like reasonable in like 5 years, I may get that. But I
one of my coworkers' sons, I think he's 12, and just last week he showed me a video he did on his phone. He shot it, edited it, did all that, and it was pretty good quality. So, I mean, people that are starting off with cell phones at a young age are going to have just amazing talent with it in a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have anybody shoot your wedding with a phone?
No.
You did get married recently, right? Or am I just looking at old pictures on Facebook?
Oh, no, it was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Okay. I should have looked at the dates on the photographs. Thanks for the invite, by the way. Jeez.
Yeah, there's nobody there. We did it right on Annapolis Naval Base. We just drove up there one day, picked up a person, went right there. Boom, just did it.
That's awesome.
It was kind of nice. Yeah, low-key. Kind of enjoyed it right on the water there.
I enjoyed it. I'm surprised Dave didn't.
Oh, you weren't supposed to say that.
You bastards. No, anyways, well, congratulations, because I know the last time I met you, we were together was like a decade ago, and I met your then girlfriend, right? And now wife. So
now she's gone. He's married to another one.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's move on. Speaking of assault, a street photographer. Oh wait, we weren't talking about assault. A street photographer was assaulted while taking photos of a couple. They could have been taking a photo of Larry and his wife. Who knows? And basically, he was taking photographs of this couple, and then the couple came up to confront him about it. They weren't happy about him taking the photographs, and the guy roughed him up. So it kind of made me think, like, what would I do in this situation? Like, what if this were me, right? What if you're out there, you're doing some innocent street photography? You know your rights. You can take photographs of anyone out in public. It's unrestricted space. It's you don't have an expectation for privacy. We know that as photojournalists, but the regular general public doesn't know that, and the general public doesn't care, especially if they're doing something that maybe they shouldn't be doing. Perhaps this couple shouldn't have been out there together. Perhaps there was a little chicanery going on. So I throw it over to you guys. Let's start with you, Ron, first. What would you do if you were confronted by somebody who was unhappy or taking photo or video of them? And have you ever been in a situation like this?
I was thinking about that. The closest I ever came was I was on assignment one time for the paper. I was supposed to shoot a some kind of a fun fair situation, and there was a family there. It was a husband and wife, and a baby. And I said, "Hey guys, hey," I'm snapping away, and then I got their information for the paper, and about 10 minutes later, the husband comes over and he says, "Oh no, the little girl came and got me," and I said, "Oh, what's that?" And she's grabbing me and I'm by the arm, whatever. "Hey, little girl, where are we going?" And bring me back to the parents, and the guy says, "Hey, what?" Or the guy didn't say anything. The guy's standing there quiet, and the mom says, "Would it be okay if you deleted those pictures?" And I said, "What the heck's going on? You guys were so cool a minute ago. What's going on here?" So I said, "Sure, no problem. You owe back child support or something? Hang on one second here. Let me tell you what I'll do." I'd never delete, but I said I had my phone. I said, "Let me just delete your names. That way they won't publish anything with the name, and you guys are set." And they said, "Well, can you delete it too?" I said, "I can't do that. The photos are all in sequence, and if I delete something, the paper will get very angry at me and ask me why I'm deleting things." That's not true. That's just what I told them, because I'm really against deleting things. I wanted to have well, you can always undelete, but I wanted to have it just in case for some reason I needed that photo in the future. What if it is a big news story for some reason? I kept it. But there was no violence involved like this poor guy here, Math. I don't know what I would do if somebody got really, really violent at me or something like that. I would like to have him on the show to explain in more detail how this all happened.
Yeah, if we can get him on the show, that'd be great.
Well, supposedly he's watching right now. So.
Oh my gosh! Well,
I did briefly engage him online about the situation.
It is math, right? Like math, like the
that's like the
concept,
subject. Yeah, that's
subject in
Math
school.
Roberts, yeah,
it's great. Well, we'd love to have you, Matt.
There you go. Exactly. What I wondered too is he didn't publish the photo anywhere.
Right.
I would have liked to see who these people were.
Yeah.
If he got assaulted over it already, heck, what else has he got to lose?
If this were me, I mean, again, I understand what he's saying about his, camera being insured, but if you're assaulted, especially if you're assaulted in such a way where you're bloodied, that's when you file like assault report. That's when you file police report. That's when you get lawyers involved, because and every time I've heard of someone, I've worked in New York City as a street photographer and whatnot, and there have been instances where there have been altercations, right? And what lawyers will tell you, what cops will tell you, if you've been assaulted by someone, like unless you're unless you're bleeding or you're broken, you got broken bones or something, it's really tough to prove assault cases. And he's got bloody nose. I mean, that's broken camera. There's a lot of leverage he could have used it for an assault case. And I get it, he's insured, but that's the one thing I'd say is, like, regardless of that, someone shouldn't get away with beating someone else up, or breaking their stuff. I think that's just not right. What about you, Larry? What if somebody, I mean, you're a bigger guy, so you could probably take him on. But what are your thoughts on, again, or have you heard an instance where this was an issue for you?
So I have had this happen in the past, but I think I would have a different answer depending on what time of my life this question was asked, to be honest with you. When I was young in the military, and to be honest with you, a lot of Air Force people would give you a little flack. I would have one answer. But as you get older and I don't want to say that it's not as important, but like my job doesn't require me to go out and capture these moments, which I think is important for me, right? Because if my livelihood was I need to get these images to get paid to pay my house bill, I may have a different answer. But for me, I don't have that. I have that luxury of not having to go out there and find those images. Sure. So to me, whenever I go to photograph something like that, I kind of play off the person and how they're vibing, how they feel. And if they really didn't want to take the photo, well, then I'll go catch a moment somewhere else.
Right.
So I think I have that, it's nice for me to have that option. I will tell you, when I was younger and maybe a little less mature or a little more, I would be a little more like, hey, I can do this. Yeah. But now, okay, just recently I took some photos. I was out in Tampa and I did some photos out there, and I had some nice moments. I was taking some photos, and a person was like, hey, who do you work for? And I was like, oh no, I just thought that the sunset looked really nice, and I saw you two holding your hands walking down, and I just thought it was a nice moment. You really couldn't tell who their identity was. And they're like, I really appreciate if you would not take those photos, delete that. And I was like, sure, no problem. Didn't bother me at all, because it was just a nice to have moment. Whereas again, if I'm working for a newspaper or for CNN or something down online, maybe it's a little different answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had anyone ask me to delete my photos on the spot that I can remember. I've had people tell me not to publish their photos. Like I remember I was shooting this, what I thought was a very touching moment. It was some caregivers who were having a fun day in the park with one of their, their wards, I guess. It was a disabled gentleman who, was again having fun. It was just some people in the park having fun. And I thought, hey, this is some really nice shots, some really playful, fun imagery here. And I took the imagery and I went up to them to get their names because, of course, when you're in Syracuse going to school, you have to get names for those photos. Otherwise, your captions are going to get graded down. Anyways, so it was actually in Syracuse when this happened. So I was out doing feature hunting, as we were prone to do when we were trying to get something for that week's class. And I thought, okay, and then I got their names, got their information. They said, hey, we don't want these published. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I kind of emailed them some of the photos I shot later. And I was like, hey, are you okay with these photographs being published? And they're like, we told you not. We don't want these photos published. And I was like, oh, okay, got it. So I never published the photos, but I was trying to get past that sort of initial like maybe if they saw the imagery and saw how nice it was, they wouldn't care. But of course they still cared. So I didn't, it wasn't something like I had other shots and other things I had done so I could make up for it. Or I think maybe I showed it in class, so that's the only place where it got shown. It wasn't published anywhere. But that's one time I was asked to not show my work. And then that's as far as deletion on site, I can't remember ever being asked to delete my work. But if I was asked to delete my work, kind of like the same way you said, Larry, unless it's like live or die, I need to make, ends meet with this shot, or it's just an outstanding shot, I mean, I would probably delete it because, like you said, Ron, you can always recover deleted imagery. I mean, that's what people either, don't understand or don't care. It's like there's ways to get your imagery back even if you deleted it. One time I was told to take an image that I had on my website off the website. So I had shot something when I was in the Marine Corps, and I was using that for my portfolio for my website, djmphoto.com, and the guy saw the image that was featured in because I used the caption which named him, and he found the image probably through a Google search and said, hey, I don't want you using my image to advertise your website and your services. Now, I could have went into a long, detailed rant about the fact that, well, you were in the military and I was in the military and these images are public domain and they're already online and they're on Divots Hub and anybody can take them and use them. But you know what? I had other better images in my portfolio at the time, and honestly, this was an old image anyways, so I was like, yeah, whatever, fine. I'm not getting constantly bombarded by people asking me to take off their imagery, so it's not like a constant thing. If it was something where I was like getting, an email a day saying, take off my imagery, then I'd probably create like a form letter and respond to any of them who, emailed me and saying, no, these are my rights. Sorry, you don't like that. Right. You have no ownership over, your image in this case. So, yeah. So hopefully I don't ever have to get, fight with somebody. But, again, I think this is a sign of the times, right? I think people are more cognizant of their image and how images can live online, and people publishing images without, permission online is coming, is more prevalent today than it ever was, back like when we were in Syracuse. We didn't even have iPhones back then. We were using old-fashioned flip phones and stuff. The cell phone camera was barely something that was even a concept in people's minds. So if you had a camera and you were out shooting, like you were a professional photographer person, most cases, or somebody or a dentist who could afford, the most expensive camera gear you could find, and there wasn't that sort of thing. But now there's this sort of expectation. Everybody's out there with a camera, and you're going to end up as a meme on some sort of Reddit or some other website. So people are more cagey about people, taking their photograph.
And I think most people, at least in my experience, are willing to work with you if they, with your demeanor and how you are. And also the power of a badge. Believe it or not, a badge you could make at your house. It tells people a lot. Oh, you have a badge? Okay, you're supposed to be here taking these photos. Yeah. It seems to squash most encounters, seems to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you go out and you make a professional-looking badge, you're going to, print it on plastic or, laminate it or something like that and get, a chain link strap around your neck and make it look like a real press pass, yeah, probably people will leave you alone. So there you go.
That's another tip from Around the Lens.
That's right. How much is that tip worth to you? If you said $1, go to Patreon and throw us a bone. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our last topic this evening. What's that?
Exclusive content for all Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, maybe Ron will put together a template of a press pass and put that online, and you can download it.
There you go. Hey,
there's an idea for you, Ron. A little project for you.
Possibility.
Instead of going back to sleep, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Not beyond the realm of possibility, but
way beyond the realm.
Not likely.
Yeah. Well, so our last story this evening, again, another sort of what would you do type scenario, or how would you react type thing. Again, that's sort of been the theme this evening. How would you react? A photojournalist rescues a victim, basically a beating. There was a teen who was attacked by an anti-LGBT group after a rally, and a photojournalist, Gleb Garanish, intervened and got the kid out of there safely. So basically, the kid was getting beaten. Gleb took some photographs of it, and then he intervened and got the kid, picked him up. He didn't mess with the people, the folks who were doing the beating. He just kind of got between them, I guess, and picked the kid up and took him to safety, which is probably the safest action, because the last thing you want to do is start getting into a fight with the people who are fighting, because then they're going to kick you and fight you. So then you got to deal with that. So just intervening, kind of getting in the middle of the action. It kind of reminds me of the guy who was on the subway, and like the two people are fighting, and he just kind of walks in between them. And it's like he's eating his chips. I don't know if you've seen that video, but it's like a viral video. I'm not saying the same thing happened here, but again, it's just what do you do in this situation? What he did was he intervened. He got the kid out of there and took him to safety. So again, I throw it to you guys. What would you do in this situation, Larry? I mean, is this do you think you'd do what Gleb did, or do you think you'd do something different? And again, it may be, like you said, based on the age. Perhaps a younger Larry would do something an older Larry wouldn't. But what's your take?
So I feel like this is a really tough question, because I feel like you have to actually be in the moment. But I think in my younger life, you remember at Syracuse, Professor Sutherland told that story about the person that was on the fence, and the photographer was going to take a photo, but they missed the moment, and they said, hey, could you go back and recreate sitting on that fence for me? And so I've always kind of lived my photography life as trying not to mess with the scene. But I'm also a human being. And I think it would be tough to sit there and watch somebody get pummeled. And I think as a human, it'd be like, oh, this person's getting beat up by, I think, 2 people were attacking him.
Right.
It would be hard to do it. And then I saw online that some people were upset with Gleb, the photographer, for taking pictures first. But then you have to think, your initial life, your whole life as a photographer, you're there to capture moments. So the first couple seconds, you're not thinking about what's going on. You're thinking about capturing the scene. And then it hit him what was going on, and he decided to do what he did. So I don't know if I have a 100% answer, but I feel like if I saw that, I would have to find some way to stop it. And maybe that's not the photojournalist's correct answer, but it's also a human answer. I don't know if I answered that or not, but
I think you answered it just fine. Ron, how about you? What would you do in that situation?
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, they are. It's very tough.
Do you call 911, or do you keep shooting because you're going to be on the cover of the paper because of this? You're going to get your Photo of the Year award, maybe? That's a tough one. You don't want to get yourself hurt.
Right.
But, like Larry said, you want to be a human being, and you can't just stand there idly by while somebody's getting beaten as well.
So it
would really depend on the situation. It would really depend. If I thought I could handle it, I guess.
This is the situation. We're not saying depending on the situation. This is the situation specifically. So what would you do? You were in Gleb's shoes. This happens in front of you. What do you do? What is Ron doing?
I'd probably start yelling or something. That's probably Ron's way. Probably say, hey, knock that off. Hey, enough of that.
So you wouldn't get involved. You wouldn't run in this situation. You would try and distract from a distance.
Possibly. I'd probably yell first, see what happened, see if I got any reaction. I don't know. I'm kind of crazy. It's possible I might have. Depend how I felt. But I'd probably yell, see what happened. But I'd probably still be taking pictures while I'm yelling.
If I were you, I would take the arsenal out of your camera bag and throw it. Just whip it at the guy and take his mind off of it. Maybe try and knock him out with it.
Actually, carry that with me. It stays in my drawer in my bedroom, and one of these days it'll be in your bedroom drawer.
I can only hope.
I know.
I was thinking about this situation, and initially, I thought, what's this guy doing? Now he got his picture. Now he's going to intervene, right? Oh, okay. This greedy guy, he's going to get what he needs before he goes and saves another person. But then I was thinking about it more and more, and kind of thinking about what you were saying, Larry, about the situation. And I don't think he was wrong, because I think something like this, happens in the moment, right? Something just, he's photographing and you see it, and then an altercation happens. It's like it just happened in front of him. And the instinct of a photojournalist is a visual journalist is just to capture. You got the camera around your neck, your head is on a swivel, you're looking for moments, especially in kind of like a heated sort of issue like this, where there's going to be clashes. You're looking for those clashes, and now you see a clash that comes out in front of you, and the instinct is to start snapping pictures. But I think at a certain point, you go from the person, you go from the photojournalist, the visual journalist, to the human being. You transition, and then you assess the situation and see maybe you can do something in the moment and try to prevent this kid from being continuously beating. And I thought it kind of reminded me of the situation that Zach was in when he was in Charlottesville, and he captured the very iconic viral shots of the black gentleman getting beaten by the white guys, and sort of the race riots there, the very racially charged moment. And I think in that instance, he sort of helped after the fact, when it was safe. But again, I'd rather him tell you exactly what happened. But again, I mean, that's a situation where there was like 4 guys on this one guy, and they had sticks, and they were that would have been tough for me as to intervene, just because I can't take on 4 people. I'm not that strong. Or
one guy had a gun too, not just
did he?
One guy had a gun.
Geez. Yeah, I mean that's that's definitely you have to take each situation as it is. And I think Gleb made probably a calculated decision, saw who these people were, it was just a physical beating. So he thought, okay, I can intervene. And Gleb, by the way, if you look about, who he is, this is a guy who doesn't mind getting a little beaten up, getting beaten up by the police. He's famously got a photograph of him covered in blood at I think a riot or something like that, where he shot. And so, he's a big guy too, and he didn't mind getting in the middle of this situation and, essentially saving the day. And I think, if I were in the similar situation, I think I would hope that I would be as courageous and human as Gleb, and try to do something to intervene. I'm not afraid of getting myself in situations or whatever, or trying to be, the person who's doing the right thing. I don't have a fear of that. And, I'd probably do something like what you did, Ron. I'd probably get in there, start yelling, be like, hey, leave him alone, get off of him. Something like that, and try and diffuse the situation from a distance. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And then getting involved, again, I'd probably have to size up the people who were doing the beating, but, I would try. Definitely. I mean, the one advantage I have is at least if I was doing it with a full frame camera with a lens, at least I have a big old lens with a camera on it I can use.
Hit them with their Micro Four Thirds, Dave. That'll stop them.
No, that'll just make them angry. They'll be like, what was that? That was my Panasonic GH5. What? Please. Don't come to a fist fight with one of those. You got to bring out the big mamma jammas. Bring out the 100 megapixel, whatever the Fuji camera is, or something like that.
There you go. GFX. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing, man, that thing will take down an elephant. Trust me. But we got to have Gleb on the show, and we got to have Matt on the show. Maybe we can have them both on the show at the same time, and they can talk about their situations. Wouldn't that be great?
I didn't even talk to Gleb at all. Have you tried?
No, I just thought of it right now.
Yeah, well, next week.
Ron, make it happen. You can do it. I believe in you.
See if we get him. Yeah,
that's right. All right. Any other thoughts on this before we move on to closing the show?
Gleb's a hero.
I think we covered it pretty well. I think it's one of those tough situations. I don't think anybody truly knows what they were going to do until they're in that moment.
True. Have you ever had a moment like this? Like something that kind of drew your adrenaline and you acted in the moment that related to, while you're on the job, like visual journalist wise, that you can remember?
No, not particularly.
Yeah. I can't think of any time where, like, I saw some kind of adversity going on in front of me. I was like photographing it, and it was like, oh man.
I've been in situations not photojournalism related. I went to the library one time. I was about 18. I was young, and this guy was choking his wife in the parking lot, and I pulled up with my car, and he got in his car and drove away. Once he saw he was a witness there, and I asked the wife. I said, "Are you okay?" I'm in my big car, right? I'm driving. He took off. I said, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, he's like this." So I went to the library.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Typical guy. Typical choking. Oh gosh, I was gonna say something, but now I lost it. Thanks a lot, Ron. Jeez.
Sorry.
Well,
libraries.
All right. Well, let's get to the end of our show. It's been an awesome show so far, and great to have you on, Larry. Larry, obviously you're working for the Department of Transportation, but do you have any imagery online? Anything you're doing that you want to direct people towards?
I would love to tell you yes, but I have gone the other route. Every administration is different. I will just say that. And currently, I don't put a whole lot out there, just because of the way the law of the land is right now.
Sure.
But maybe in the future I will. I will tell you also, doing that takes me an hour and a half each way to get to work, a legitimate hour and a half. Sometimes when I get home, I really don't want to mess with photography at all. Yeah. Like I used to do side jobs, I used to do some weddings and some other things, and now I just, and then the weekend I want to do anything but photography. I hate to admit that, but it is kind of true at times. I go through these little ruts. I'm in a rut right now where I just, when I get done, that's why I'm so much into video right now. It's something different. So not right now. I don't have anything really online.
So are you doing video in your free time then?
I'm starting to. I haven't taken a full-on job yet. I'm just doing it for fun right now to learn. And so I haven't really posted anything. I did a mud run like last year, and I took some video, and I'm slowly editing that and just trying to come up with something that I can do for fun for me. And then eventually I want to get to where I'm producing pieces in a timely manner. Right. I don't want to where it takes me. Right now it takes me weeks to put something that's of good quality. So, that's where I'm at right now.
The first documentary I ever made was about my trip to Israel, and it took me about 6 months to edit that. Now, granted, that was on a piece of garbage 2005 budget laptop, and I had probably about 10 hours of video and probably about a couple thousand photographs. So granted, that's why it took me a little bit longer. And the program I used, I think, was Sony Vegas or something, and it was constantly crashing throughout the production process. But I made it. I created a piece of content. But yeah, speed in video editing is something I am constantly striving for. And if I have, and it doesn't help that I have kids and, of course, the wife and family obligations that take me away from being able to focus on editing. You don't have any kids, right?
No kids.
Okay, so that's one extra, again, time sink you don't have there. So, given amount of time, I can knock out a decent video in probably about a day or so, like a little vloggy video. That was something you might want to try doing, doing a little, Larry Simmons vlog. Be like, yo, what's up? It's your boy, Larry Simmons out here. Yo, like, comment, subscribe. All right, I'm out.
It's uncanny. I sound just like that.
You do. That's my Larry Simmons impression.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of my coworkers, some other people are getting on. They're like, you're not on Instagram. You're not posting photos. You're not doing all that stuff. And I want to get that enthusiasm again. I'm working on it. I think I've lost it for a little while, and I'm hoping that something sparks an interest and I start doing that again.
You know what helps me when I'm feeling low? I just buy a new piece of equipment, buy a new lens, buy a new camera, sell the old stuff. Because you kind of get used to your old stuff, What are you using, by the way?
Yeah, true.
Both professionally and personally.
Personally, I still have my 700, my Nikon 700. I still like it. Okay. At work, we bought the D5s and the 850, which are both amazing cameras. Love them.
Oh yeah.
And we got the Z6 here that we're trying out just for fun,
Good.
Um, one of the things I'm looking forward to getting, I had it printed out here, was the I don't know if you heard of Blackmagic, the eCPU, the graphics card eCPU. Have you looked into that?
Yes, you mean the eGPU?
It's GPU, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've not messed with it myself, but I know it can do amazing things on mostly slower, older computers. Like the newer MacBooks, it's not going to be as beneficial, but then the older ones, it can definitely give you a boost.
Well, right now we're fighting at work because they don't want us to have Macs anymore at work. I guess yeah. So
I just ordered Macs.
Yeah, it's DoD though. You're DoD,
Oh, right.
And so we might purchase the GPUs to help out our Macs currently. Obviously, though, it has to be Thunderbolt, so even my old Macs won't really.
Yeah.
You have to have a Thunderbolt for it to work in. So I don't know. Just looking around at some of the new technologies out there, some of the amazing things, the DJI, some of the new gimbals and stuff that are out there. There's some really cool products out there, and the Arsenal too, right?
Oh, that's a great one.
Outfit your entire office with arsenals. Trust me, that's a valid use of Department of Transportation money right there. Government funds well put to use. Hey, end of year, right? Got to get all those end of year purchases in, right? Or have you already done that?
Never used it. Yeah, we already did end of year stuff.
Yeah, I actually put in for some mostly Panasonic cameras. I'm going with the whole S series line, the S1 line. So I'm getting the S1, S1R, and S1H. And lenses, so we're going completely Panasonic. And then Macs, I'm going to get a MacBook and a Mac Pro. Not a Mac Pro, but the iMac Pro, the desktop one, because the Mac Pro isn't out yet.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately can't get that, but, I'm going to go all Mac stuff. Although in my personal life, I'm using just PC. I've switched to the desktop PC, so it's what's been able to help me crank out videos a little bit faster. That's a big thing, too, with, speed of videos, what the quality is of your computer. So if you're trying to use some old clunker from like 2010, you might want to consider upgrading.
Right.
But that also affects your enjoyment of the video too. But cool. Well, when you start putting stuff online, whether it be like a YouTube channel, because that's another thing too, I would recommend, Larry, is just put it online. Like get some feedback, that, even if it's going to be on like a YouTube channel that you don't tell anybody about, except for, me, and then I'll tell my audience. But, let's see your work, man. Get some critique. You know how it is as a photojournalist. You can't grow unless you're getting critique.
I mean, it's the best way to get critiques and to see what other people see that you don't see. Because, when you shoot the video, you edit, or with the photography, it's obviously like your baby, like you did it. And then sometimes you hold on to it and it says, why didn't you do this? You're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And you're right. Critiques is just an amazing way to enhance everything you do.
Absolutely. If you want me or anybody else to look at your stuff, let me know, and I'll be happy to give you my thoughts.
I will do. I appreciate it.
No problem. And same thing with you, Ron. If you ever need any critique, any work, just let me know. I'll look over your stuff.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah.
Let me tell the broadcast journalist how to do his job.
That's nice. Somebody ought to.
Any new things going on at Eagle News?
Probably.
You're just a ball of words tonight. Then again, it is 3 a.m. over there, so it makes sense.
3:54. It's hot too, man. We got a heat wave over here. Oof. I'm sweating. Ceiling fan doesn't work. I'm dying.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think on that note, we'll end this week's show. Larry, thank you so much for taking time out to be on the show. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. It was an honor, and I look forward to being back on sometime again.
Absolutely, you're always welcome on. By the way, do you still have the other episode saved on your phone or whatever? Remember, you showed me that one time, although it was a decade ago.
My wife definitely has it.
Okay, great. She listens
to it.
She listens
to it every now and then. Yeah,
to go to sleep to. Puts it on, goes to sleep to it.
Actually, real quick, when we started dating again, that was the only way she used to listen to it. She could hear my voice.
Oh wow!
She's like, oh yeah, online. I was like, I didn't even know it was online. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's offline now. I've since taken all of those old episodes offline, but I should resurrect it for you. I'm going to find that episode. I'm going to make it a Patreon bonus. Huh?
There you go.
Hey, Ron.
There you go.
Paying the
That'll
big
get
bucks.
us some subscribers. Yeah.
Or people who cancel the service. Anyways, again, thanks to Larry so much for being on. Truly appreciate it. For Ron Hamilton, I am David J. Murphy. This has been Around the Lens, episode 193, and we are out!
Thanks for listening to Around the Lens. We hope you enjoyed the show. To continue the conversation, head on over to one of our social media outlets such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter. To support the show financially, consider donating to us via Patreon. For show notes from this week's episode and links to everything else we talked about, just go to our website, aroundthelens.com. Finally, if you or someone you know might be a good guest for the show, get in touch with us via email at info@aroundthelens.com.